Whoa, welcome back to my kitchen. What my plan is for today is to prep all of our meals for the week, so it makes it a little bit easier for me to actually make dinner instead of just saying whatever, I don't care what you guys eat, which has been happening a lot lately. So I'm going to start with tonight's dinner and get that made because it's already 3 o'clock, and then I'll start working on the meals for the rest of the week. I don't have a ton of prep to do for each thing, but it's prep that takes a while. So I'm hoping I can get a good chunk of it done today. But what we're having tonight is broccoli soup and BLTs. I'm going to make bread for the BLTs because I like making homemade bread, but also we're out of bread. We only have maybe half a loaf left, and I'll use that for the kids' lunches this week. So I found a recipe for homemade bakery French bread. If this is good, I'll link it. If it's not, I won't. But it looks simple and it looks good. So I'm gonna get this started so that it has time to rise and everything, and then I'll get started on the soup, and then we'll go from there and see how it goes. So I've got yeast. This is active dry yeast. I keep it in the fridge, and then all my extra I keep in the freezer, and I just keep refilling this little container. So two tablespoons of yeast, which this is going to puff up huge. That is a lot of yeast. And I've got half a cup of warm water. And then this needs to proof, so I'll just set this aside. I'm gonna start getting the veggies chopped up, but I need to get the bacon in, otherwise it won't be done. So I've got my big pan here. It's pretty grungy looking. So I just throw mats on it. And then I just like to, well, I really like to put bacon in the air fryer, but since I'm doing a ton of it because we're having sandwiches, I will put it in the oven and cook a whole bunch of it at once. I just found this at my local grocery store. It's uncured nitrate-free bacon, so it smells good. Let's see if it tastes good. I don't like the nitrates. It makes my skin break out. So I always try to get nitrate free if I can. I used to get the Hormel uncured bacon, and I really liked that, but they stopped selling it. First they jacked up the price. They jacked it up to like 12 bucks a pack, and it's not even a pound. It's like 12 ounces. That's $1 a slice basically, because there were, well, some of the packs didn't even have 12 slices. But then, I don't know, they switched owners or something, and they stopped selling it, and then they came out with their own like house brand, so hopefully it's good. This stuff is frozen. I pulled it out a little while ago, but it's still pretty frozen. But this was like out of the, not the deli, what is that called, like the meat counter where the actual butcher is, and this is uncured as well, although it's very peppery. So it's not as good. I don't care for it as much as just the regular, you know, not seasoned stuff. But I'm happy that it's no nitrates. Set the oven on 350 and it doesn't burn it. You can leave it in for however long till it's your crispiness that you like. And 350 is a nice temperature that doesn't burn the bacon for whatever reason. I watched a video about it. I forget who had it, that Ethan... I don't know how to say his last name. It's Ethan Chibolowski or something. I think he did a whole breakdown on bacon and how at like 325, 350 it'll melt the fat, but it won't burn the bacon, and it's like the perfect temperature. And I found that that is right. That works really well. Alright, so the bacon's in the oven. The yeast is quite foamy. You won't be able to see it. Well, whatever. It's foamy yeast. It says combine the water, sugar, salt, oil, 3 cups of flour. So we need 2 cups of hot water, which I got ready before. It's kind of cold now. Good enough. 3 tablespoons of sugar. 2.5 teaspoons of salt. Thank you. 1/3 cup of oil. And then 6.5 cups of flour. That is so much flour. Alright, so it says to start with 3 cups and then add in from there. Oh. So this is number 5. This is 6. And we're just looking for it to pull away from the edges of the bowl and to look like a nice dough consistency. So this is getting pretty thick. I can hear my machine starting to struggle. Seems like it has enough flour, so I'm going to just let it knead for a few minutes. I'll turn this back on in a second. It does need to work a little bit longer, but I'm going to get the onions and the veggies chopped up to get in the soup so I can get moving on that. It's 3:30 now. We usually eat around 6. I should have plenty of time, but I always say that and then I run out of time. So I'm just going to get that stuff chopped up while this is going, and then hopefully we can move on. So this is what the dough looks like. I think it looks all right. I'm going to leave it in this bowl. I think maybe I'll oil around it, and then it's supposed to rest for 10 minutes. And I imagine with all that yeast, it probably poofs up really fast. Ooh, my eyes are watering from the onions. It's not super warm in my kitchen either, but the oven is going, so if I put it over there, I'm hoping it'll be fine. Okay, that's set for 10 minutes. This is the onions. I had 3 small onions. It was the last of my older onions. I'm just going to, actually I'll wait with that. Chop them in the chopper and then get them into the kettle. So I am starting with a whole stick of butter. And then that helps to make the roux later too. And then this garlic is frozen in my freezer, obviously, but I always keep frozen cloves in there. But what I want to start doing is chopping them ahead of time and just freezing the chopped garlic. And I think that would make it all a little easier. So I have a new bag here that if I get to it, I'd like to make some little garlic balls in the freezer. Okay, so I'm gonna get this on the stove and sauteing, and then I'll get the celery and the carrots done. I have 4 celery stalks and 2 little carrots. We're not big fans of carrots, but I appreciate the health benefits, so I try to work them in where I can. And I don't peel them. It's not really like some sort of choice that I made. It's just that I'm lazy and I don't want to, so I just scrub them and use them. And this looks like it's going to be way too many carrots. Something about the sweetness of them we don't really care for, so I might just use half of these and then save the other half. Okie dokie. And the celery, if it's fresh, like I just bought this yesterday, I'll just use the leaves and stuff because I don't know why I would cut them off. But if they're looking kind of grungy, then I cut them off. And then the same with this bottom thing. I try not to cut too much of it off because it's not bad. But sometimes it is if I let it sit too long. Alright, this is a lot of celery too, but celery doesn't have, I guess it does have like a strong flavor, but it's not like that sweet carrot flavor, so I don't know. Nobody's ever complained about too much celery, so I just use what I want. The bread is not poofing up as much as I thought it would. So I don't know why it only needs 10 minutes, but well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to chop up all the carrots and all the celery, and then we'll see because I want to put the onions in there too, but I like to make little bags of carrots and celery, and then when I go to make soup I can just take out, maybe I could put it all in a big bag. Maybe I'll freeze it flat and then I can put it all into a big bag and just scoop out what I need, so I'm not wasting all the little bags. It's a big carrot. So let me get these scrubbed and then I'll get these all chopped. That should be the bread. I'm gonna give it just a couple more minutes so I can finish the carrots up. Alright, that is the carrots. I'll do the celery next, but I need to get the bread shaped and whatever. So let's get rolling on that. So this is our veggies. I'm gonna throw the broccoli in. This is 2 pounds. I'll probably use about half of this. And there's the bacon. That's looking pretty done. And here's the bread dough. So I'll let this cook for a while. This bread recipe was excellent. There was really nothing special about it. And when I tried it, it just tasted like white bread. And I think I mentioned that later in the video. But I don't have a recipe for white bread that I really like. So I was actually planning on tomorrow, I'm going to make this into white bread and split it into 2 loaves. I think I should get 2 good loaves out of that. And just see how it tastes for like peanut butter sandwiches and, you know, deli meat sandwiches and whatever, because it cooked up really nice and the recipe was really great. Okay, so this says it has to rise for 30 to 40 minutes until it's doubled. I'll have to get a pan out and get these on there. This is a greased pan. So I put a big piece of parchment down and I sprayed it with some olive oil. I'm just going to put these on there. I think I'll do them. These should be fine like this. I don't know. I don't know how much they're going to poof up. We'll see. And then I'm going to cover them and let them sit for 30 to 40 minutes. It says they should double, so they'll probably be huge. So most of the butter has been absorbed or cooked away or whatever. So I'm going to put the broth in. This is stuff that I canned up in December. And then I'll do a jar of water too, or maybe half a jar. Or maybe, yeah, I'll do half jar. All right, so it's half a jar of water. I'm gonna let these boil so they get really soft. And if I need more water, I'll just add it. All right, so this has been boiling. Everything's fairly soft, not completely soft, but soft enough. So when we have broccoli soup, we like it to be just liquid. And I already got a request to make sure there's no chunks. So I'm just gonna use the immersion blender, blend this all up, and then we'll continue with the seasonings and if we need more water and whatever. All right, that looks pretty good. I'm sure there's one chunk and I'm sure my whiny daughter will get it. It's tradition. So I will add more liquid to this and then I'll check it for seasonings and then I think it just needs a cheese after that. These are ready to go. I'm gonna get them in the oven. It does say to put a beaten egg on top to give it that nice like golden color. Okay, so these go in at 375, 18 to 22 minutes, and hopefully it's delicious. All right, I have this Great Value Melt and Dip. It's just generic Velveeta. I'll use half of this for the soup. So I'll just cut it in half and then throw it in there. You can cut it up into smaller pieces if you want, but I don't want to. And then after this melts, I'll check for seasonings because this stuff's pretty salty. That is all the celery that I have. I cleaned out what was in my fridge as well. I'm gonna try to lay this as flat as possible. And then I'm gonna put some of the carrots in. But this is way too many for the amount of celery that I have. This I'll just throw in the freezer until it freezes, and then I'll break it up and throw it into a Ziploc, like a big Ziploc. And I'll just scoop out what I need for soups instead of having all the individual little bags. That's what I used to do in the past. This will work, and then I'll just put that into a little bag so I can freeze that or do something with that. Maybe I could dehydrate those, but I have a ton of dehydrated carrots because we never use them. Here's the soup. It is a decent thickness. I did not do a roux. I also did not put cream in this. I just blended up the vegetables, added a little water. I didn't put any seasonings in it either. The cheese is plenty salty to take care of the whole batch, and the broth tasted really good without anything in it. So this is done. I'm not going to put the cream in it, and it tastes really good, so I'll just leave it on really low to simmer, and we're almost ready for dinner. And then the bread just beeped. Holy crap, that looks amazing. Let me get my thermometer. Nope, not done yet. I'll give it 5 more minutes. So I've got about 5 minutes on the bread. It looks really good, but it's not quite to temp yet. I'm going to chop up this garlic. I think the onions are going to be a little bit more of a bigger process. So I'll get the garlic done. And then when I do the onions, which maybe I'll do that tomorrow, I can use my, what do you call that thing, food processor instead of this little chopper. This is just one little batch here. I really like having the fresh garlic, which it's not really fresh because I freeze it, but it's fresh in the sense that I can garlic press it, and I like that a lot, but it's less convenient when it's frozen. And it's not bad. I can still push it through the garlic press, and I can chop it up. It thaws in like 2 seconds. It's not a big deal. But I thought this would be nice because then I can just grab and go. And I saw somebody on YouTube do this. I don't remember who. I watch a lot of people. She just scooped them out, froze them in a ball, and then just keeps them in a ball. And this looks like a ton of garlic, and it is. But I use a lot of garlic, so it works for me. I heard that at Costco, I don't go to Costco, there's not one by me, but I heard they have giant bags of garlic, like pre-cut or pre-peeled. So I am interested in that. I was thinking about getting a membership, but it's about an hour drive for me, and we don't have a lot of places to store like bulk things. So it would have to be pretty well planned if I go. But I think it would be fun. So I got 10 little balls here. I'm gonna throw this in the freezer, and then if I like it this way, maybe I'll get a giant bag and do a whole bunch. And if I don't like it this way, I'll go back to just storing the little cloves in my jar in the freezer. Oh my God!
Those are huge.
Oh, they smell amazing.
You recording?
Yeah. Because that's so funny.
Those are huge.
Oh, the bottoms aren't burnt. They look so yummy. They're very hot. Okay, gotta cut up these tomatoes. And then I think that's everything for dinner. I already tossed my cutting board in the sink. That's okay. I didn't get a lot of stuff prepped for the week. I only got like the veggies cut up and frozen and the garlic balls done, but I was happy with that, and I'll just keep trying to get a good meal prep for the week done. But this dinner was amazing. Everything turned out delicious. Like I said earlier, I'm definitely going to try to make that bread again. The soup was good. It was just a great dinner, and I'm happy with what I did get done. This is
done.
sweet baby butter lettuce. It says it's already washed. So hopefully it's good. No pesticides. Alrighty, I just need the bread to cool for a few minutes before I can slice into it, otherwise it'll get gummy. But it looks delicious. Yeah, and I gotta do something with the carrots. Okay, this bread is very soft. It smells like bread. I don't know. I'm sure it'll be delicious, but I always like to see if it tastes good on its own. It just tastes like white bread, like nothing special at all. But good white bread. I'm not disappointed with it. And I don't have a good white bread recipe. So this was a good recipe. It wasn't the nice crusty French bread like I wanted, but it'll be really good for these sandwiches. So we are ready to eat. I'll show you what everything looks like when we pull it together. And we're all set.
Thank you so much for watching. This is how it turned out. These sandwiches were delicious. This bread was excellent. The soup is always good. I'll pop up a few other videos if you're interested in watching something else before my next upload, and I will catch you next time. Bye.